Um, yeah, it's just been a busy couple of days getting ready to go to Omaha. We're going to work out here at 10 o'clock and head out at 1:30. That's about it.
Great. Thanks, Coach. We'll go ahead and start with tennis.
Hey, Coach. How different does this feel from this time in 2018 when you were headed up? Because now, I mean, the program is all grown up. You guys are playing at such a high level, and there's that, that fearless confidence that you've been talking about. How different does it feel this time?
I think it's a lot different, honestly, from the staff to the team. I've been to Omaha now. This will be my 6th time, and my first time as a head coach was here in 18. And I think it was somewhat of a relief that, all right, we have an opportunity to do what Texas does. We're going to Omaha. And so that kind of, it was only year 2, but that relief of knowing that we've accomplished what Texas does, and that's getting to Omaha. Now we have an opportunity to play for a national championship. And I think that team really overachieved in 18. I thought the pieces fell into place. We had a tremendous year by Cody. We had a tremendous year by David. We pieced the pitching together. They did well, but I mean, it wasn't what our pitching is now. And I think when you go to Omaha and you feel confident because of your starting pitching gives you an opportunity, it's a different feeling. And so I think going in there this year, there's never been any thought of, hey, we made it to Omaha. It's the only thought that we've had is it's the next step. We're going to Omaha to win this thing. Now, whether we're good enough and the pieces fall into place, you got to have a little luck. You got to stay healthy. It's just got to work out. You got to calm your nerves, but there is definitely a different feeling with this team going into this 21 national championship run. And you can look at so many players on our team that have not had postseason experience, but they've had Team USA experience. They've had area code experience. And I don't view them as a freshman anymore after the number of at-bats and the type of play that they presented all year. So there's 7 other teams that probably feel the same way. Maybe there's 2 out of the 8 teams kind of probably are in that category that we were in 18 of, hey, we're happy we're going to Omaha. And I think there's 6 other teams that are sitting in there going, we're going in there to win it with a lot of confidence. And don't ask me which 6 of the 8. I just feel like that's kind of what probably happens,
Hey, everybody, we have a lot of questions in queue with a tight window, so just keep it to 1 each. Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, David, just what did you take as a head coach from 2018? Like you said, taking Texas there as opposed to, being there with someone else.
It's a lot of pride. I mean, it's something that the expectations have been set by previous teams. The history of this program has been set. And when you come here, you understand that and you expect that as well. I think what I realized then as a head coach at that 18 run is we played the first game of the tournament and we got beat. In the second game, it was probably halfway through the Florida game that we seemed like we settled in and started just playing the game. And we got past all the other distractions. And so going into this one, I think it benefits us playing in the second bracket. We were the last game of the Super Regionals. We're the last game of the start of Omaha. And I think that helps a younger team and it allows you to kind of settle into the environment a little bit more. So I think that really helps our group. And I just think our mindset is so different. But I don't know if I learned a lot that I would take from that as far as, okay, we can't allow this to happen. We got to continue this. The one thing I've done different this year, as opposed to 18 and sometimes even our Rice teams, is that we played 7 innings yesterday. We didn't back off of anything that we do in our practice. Today we will go hard, but it would be short. And I think what happens is once you get into postseason, it's like, okay, well, we just got to reserve our energy and be ready to go on the weekend. But you also get a little complacent and you get comfortable going, all right, we got this. Now here we go, game on, and you're not the same. So we want to stay sharp. We worked hard yesterday. We went 4 hours in that heat and we played 7 innings. And there's a fine line there as well, because you get to this point, like when that squad was over yesterday, it was relief knowing that nobody got hurt, because you can't afford to lose a guy in that setting this time of the year. But it's a catch-22, because if you don't do it, then you don't feel like you've got some extra arms working, et cetera. So, yeah, I think anything is just continuing to do what we've done all year.
Eric Olsen, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, Eric Olsen with the AP up here in Omaha. Hey, tons of home runs have been hit in the tournament so far, as you know. And I was wondering, coming to TD Ameritrade Park, just the dimensions and how the park plays. I wanted to see if you could talk about how your team maybe is suited to that, and also just about maybe teams that have relied on hitting the home run, how things might change for them up here.
So I think we've just all noticed the difference from Rosenblatt to Ameritrade, and it's definitely a different game. I think it helps us because we have the ability to score in other ways than the long ball. We've had some success with the long ball, but we've also hit more doubles than we've hit in previous years. We have the ability to do some things in the short game when we need to. So I think the key for us, I can't speak for the other 7 teams, but we've got to be good against a team that strikes out a lot of people. When you look at Mississippi State, it's an unheard of number. They have struck out 744 hitters this year. To put that in perspective, we've struck out like 516, and we've got a very good pitching staff. So they have swing and miss stuff. And so for us is we've got to put some pressure on the other teams by utilizing our speed and putting the ball in play.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
David, you're kind of in a similar situation in 2018 where the team you opened against, you'd seen during the regular season. Does that Mississippi State game matter this year, or is it so far in the past that there's not really much you can take from it aside from knowing that they can strike out a lot of guys and they have some great players on their team?
They're just a really well-rounded team. I think they have better team speed than most SEC teams. They also have the ability to drive the ball out of the park, but they can do some things with the ball in play, first to third, score from second. But we actually talked about this yesterday, is that we're not playing Mississippi State in a revenge game because we were 0-3 in Arlington and they were one of the teams, or the team we opened up with. That's not what we've done all year. We understand that they're a very good team. Our intent is to go out and totally focus on ourselves and our team and what we do well. Understand the percentages, understand what they could potentially give us as a defense to our offense, and try to attack those areas. And I think the same thing with our percentage defense versus their offense. So it's not even about that opening weekend. It's just one of 8 teams here that's going to play really well and have done a great job all year, and then finished really well against a very good Notre Dame team. So there's not a team that's coming to Omaha that's not confident.
Roger, you're up.
David, was there a point you made some changes, decisions, whatever might have happened, where you thought, okay, now you look back, that was a key point or some key moments to get this team to where they are, or was it just steady growth?
Just strictly this year, Raj?
Yeah. I don't know, not one moment, but
There was definitely a turning point. First of all, I think when we came out of the opening weekend, nobody panicked. We understood we played 3 very good teams and we've got a lot of work to do. I think we'd have felt like that even if we'd have gone 2-1, 3-0, and just evaluate our team after the opening weekend. But I would really say our goal throughout the course of non-conference is to find out more information about individual players. I can recall when we played my first year here, we played I think it was the 16 and under Team USA team here at the Dish in the fall. And David Hamilton, he was a low energy guy in practice, and we get into this game, and I mean, all of a sudden he becomes a different guy. And so you find out more when they play against outside competition. And I think we spent a lot of time up until the KU series coming out of the Aggie game where we got shut out. And we made a commitment to our lineup. And I think that eased some players' minds of, okay, I don't have to look over my shoulder. I've earned the right to start. Coach is going to allow me to fail, and I'm going to get comfortable in the box and go play. And I think that's the biggest turning point. And then probably the continual growth of Pete Hansen to get to the weekend.
Justin, go ahead.
David, have you decided who's going to start that first game? And I mean, you guys have been so consistent in terms of your pitching plan throughout the season. Does anything change going up to Omaha, or you just kind of keep attacking it the same way?
Sean and I were just talking, and we'll continue to talk, looking at the matchup and all. I think there was a pretty good coach around here named Daryl Rose said, dance with what brung you there. So we're not going to get too far from what we do for sure, but we'll continue to look at the matchup and see, what's the best way to go into game one to set up, the continuation of the tournament. But we're pretty comfortable with what we're probably going to do.
Kirk, go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, y'all are going up there pretty early, and there's gonna be a lot of sitting around till you play, like you said, the late game Sunday night. A lot of people think you guys and Vanderbilt are the favorites. You're the highest seed left at 2. So what do you do during the interim between now and Sunday night to keep them loose, keep them focused?
Well, we're going up one day too early, in my opinion, and that's set up because of testing with the NCAA protocols, and it's just what we have to deal with. But we'll have a dinner at the hotel tonight. We have practice every day. I don't know. We may even have an opportunity to go to the zoo. This will be my 6th time to go to Omaha. I've never been to the zoo. Now, my family has. I mean, they spent a lot of time over there, but I've actually never been there. So I might go there this time. But our team will stay pretty active. We're staying in an area where we can move around. The one thing I do like the way we travel, and we've done this for years, but we have a pretty big breakfast together every morning. So we know guys aren't going to sleep in until noon because we're getting them out of bed. And it's not 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. It's 9 o'clock. We'll have a good breakfast, get our day started, and then our practice schedules and some of the other events that we have to deal with will keep us pretty active. And just the excitement of being in Omaha, I think our kids will. I don't think too many guys are going to be laying around in the hotel. Unfortunately, we're past that period with protocols as well.
Joe Cook, you're up.
David, kind of along the lines of pitching, what are your plans with Pete and Kobe? I know Kobe's a guy you maybe be able to bring out of the bullpen. Would you do the same thing with Pete, or would you want to start him if you make it that far?
I don't think you can sit back when you have spacing in this type of tournament and not utilize your number 3 and one of your best guys, especially that he's left-handed, where he could potentially take a bigger role in game one as a lefty matchup, or even a 3-inning guy if that's what the game calls for, but also be available for a game 2. But if he were extended in a game 1 following a tie, hypothetically, probably would be burned for a Tuesday, but then would be available to start on a Thursday. So it's definitely a little different strategy as opposed to a 3-game back-to-back series of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I'm never going to use a Sunday starter on Friday night as a reliever and then go Sunday. So I think, yeah, we'll explore how we utilize both of those kids there.
Got time for two last ones. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, David, just wanted to ask about Trey. You know, obviously, we all know how phenomenal he is in the field, but he's looked a lot more comfortable with the bat last month. I think he's raised his average by like 30 points over the last month. Just what are you seeing from him? Is it just confidence? Is it approach? You know, what's made him more productive at the plate for y'all?
I think it's all of the above, but probably more than anything, they spend a lot of time on just middle of the field approach. And I think sometimes he gets too conscious of hitting the ball to right center field. And I think his strength is really left center field. And so where he is in the box is also advantageous to that. His swing plane is advantageous to that. So really getting pitches that play into his strength. So maybe getting a little deeper in the count or being ready for a pitch that he handles best early in the count, I think are all key factors.
One last one, Cole Thompson, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, just want to get your thoughts on the younger guys, especially out of the bullpen. You have your big three, but to be able to get Aaron and Lucas and Tanner really meaningful innings in both the regionals and super regionals, does that give you a sense of confidence if anytime you had to go to your bullpen maybe a little bit earlier than you were expecting in Omaha?
Well, we've utilized them the entire year in those roles. And so I don't see us changing that at all. You know, the formula, like we talked about it the other day in game 2, Cole Quintanilla is catching up for me at Fungo. And I said, all right, you ready for the formula? You know, and you're going to, if he didn't pitch following Ty on Saturday night, well, he's the first guy up following Tristan. And so I think that comfort of not surprising guys and knowing their roles, it helps them to understand, all right, I've got to be ready to go 6th, 7th, 8th, or whatever that is. And then there's times like Saturday night where Tanner's pitch count was so low and he was so dominating that why would we go to Aaron right then when, you know, you risk the chance of Aaron maybe having jitters or not performing well that day, and you have a guy that's dominating, and it didn't work out. But sometimes you still have to stick with that. If you know, Tanner's threshold's been about 45 to 50 pitches where he starts having some, you know, not fatigue. It's just the ball starts getting up. He's not ready to go past. He's not programmed to go past that yet, to go multiple times in a week. So, yeah, they've been special. Honestly, they just, the mentality that they bring is probably why they're so good.